So, Stephen D here on Pure 24/7 Radio, and I am joined by David Duncan, one of the writers for Pure Media, the magazine. Hello, David.
Hello, it's nice to meet you, Stephen. Thanks for having me for an interview.
Absolutely, it's brilliant. So, what is it that you do? What do you get up to?
Well, what I do for a living is I work in education as an elementary school assistant principal, but I'm also an ordained and licensed Southern Baptist minister, which was my first career, and I've been writing a little blog called David's Daily Dose for about eight. Oh no, wait a minute. Since 2018, so 6 years, something like that. 6, 7 years. I'm doing the math here in my head.
Excellent. So, 6 or 7 years writing this blog, and you've been a Baptist minister and now working in education. So, yeah, quite an interesting career, quite a good, solid thing to be doing. And so, as part of Pure Media Magazine, we bring that David's Daily Dose into the magazine, and we want to talk about what really inspired your most recent addition to that.
I lately for the Pure Media magazine, which is amazing, by the way. I've never held a copy in my hands because I live in the United States. I don't want to have one shipped over here, but the digital version is amazing. So if you're listening, please subscribe because it's an awesome magazine. Uh, the current stories that I'm sharing in my column are it's called Pause and Reflect. It's the adventures of a dog who followed Jesus. And so it's going back in time and thinking what it would be like from the eyes of a dog who got to know Jesus. Actually, in my stories, he meets Jesus at the wedding in Cana, his first public miracle of Christ. But then just following Jesus along with his miracles. And the latest one I wrote for the magazine, which I originally shared on my blog, was about how that when Jesus went to Capernaum, which is the hometown of Peter and his brother Andrew, that he everybody came to see him, and he was healing people and casting out demons and doing all these amazing things. But then it says that early in the morning he got up and he left the house, and so I just put Buck right there with him. Buck is the name of the dog, which is another story which I can get into in a minute. But how I came to write about this is because of another blogger, another Christian blogger named Beth Allison. She has a blog called Lessons from a Lab, and she has a couple of Labradors. And at one point, she showed a picture of a Labrador that was a good friend of hers. This lab belonged to a good friend of hers and had just passed away at the age of 16. But it shows the Labrador named Buck in a duck blind, and he's looking at his owner, like waiting for the next command. And she put this Bible verse with it about seeking God's face always. And it just inspired me. That's when I wrote the first installment. But that's how it came to be. There's probably like 12 or 13 of these stories where Buck is following Jesus around, like one of his most loyal disciples, according to Buck. And he's seeing things from a dog's eye that maybe us humans could get some insight from. So I call it Pause and Reflect, SPAWS, like a dog paw. And it's actually a name of a dog spa up in Montana where my son lives. So hopefully they don't get me for, hey, that belongs to us, but I don't know if it's copyrighted, but so I call it Pause and Reflect. That's my story series I'm sharing in the magazine right now.
That's amazing. It's really, really cool how you've been inspired to do this. But you mentioned you've got something interesting about the inspiration behind the name of the dog. I don't know there's a story for that.
Yes, the original dog that the picture in Beth's post, his name was Buck. So I called the dog in my story series Buck because in honor of Buck. In fact, in my blog, I show the picture of Buck in the duck blind, and then I say, that it's in memory of Buck, who was a real Labrador. I think I even mention it in the article, at the end of the article of every one of the articles that I write for Pure Media, I put in there that Buck was a real dog and it's a memory of him, which of course Labradors didn't come around until like the 10th century. So, I don't know, we didn't have Labradors back in New Testament times, but I make Buck a Labrador for the story.
It's really good. Excellent. And what would it be that you'd want people to take away from, particularly this one, Pause and Reflect, Jesus talks to his dad? What would be what you'd want people to come away realizing or reflecting upon?
I think in that particular story, I would like people to think about the fact that Jesus, he took time to spend with his father, even though he was the Son of God. He still wanted that time and fellowship, and it's something that we need so desperately in our society. In fact, I think if Jesus was alive now, he would probably leave his phone behind and go out to pray early in the morning, just like he did in the Bible. So all the pings and the dings and the interruptions that we have can sometimes keep us from seeking God like we should. So I would want people to be like Buck and just want to be with Jesus and spend some time with him every day.
Excellent. Thank you so much, David. That's a really good thing to take away from this article, the need to spend some time with God away from all the pings and the dings. Thank you so much.
Mhm. Yes.